Very good afternoon to all my dear students. On behalf of ICAI Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, once again, I welcome all of you for the last session of CA Foundation Law class. The feelings are mutual on this side as well. I can feel that you will be revising and really preparing well. Mr. Sarthak, Swati, Richa, Aisha, Shriya, Pramod, Aryan, Ananya, all of you, good afternoon. Exactly, Ritu Tiwari. Good afternoon, Mr. Kevin, Soumya, Anushka, Shriya, Ashutosh, Vadikar, Baba Saheb, Mehak, Arpi. So, children, I'm glad to read that you have revised what we have done in the previous session. And one small tip I want to give you before we, because it's the last session, so you should continue revising your work. And the timetable that I told you in the last meeting also, that you should make a timetable in such a way that if you have done Indian Contract Act in the month of December, you should be revising it along with your Companies Act right now. And after completing the entire syllabus, you have to do it once again. So thrice each of the acts should have been passed through your eyes in order to be 100% sure that you have done the things. No, you will not leave anything. Mr. Kevin, I told you the feelings are mutual. Even I'm going to miss all of you a lot because you all have been very obedient and good students. And I'm 100% sure that you'll be scoring very good marks in your CA Foundation. Nikita, we'll just take up your query as well. She says, I have two doubts. My one feature company is guarantee company and the company having share capital. So I told you, child, when we discussed that particular case law also, that company limited by guarantee are generally the companies which are open up for a charitable kind of institutions. They may have share capital or they may not have share capital. So in the particular case where we discussed that there was a company limited by guarantee and it was having a share capital, then whenever the liability occurs, whenever you are the shareholders are called to pay off the liability, then the shareholders will be first invited to pay their share, their liability, and then if any balance is still left, the people who have given the guarantee will be invited in order to dispose of the liability of the company. All right. So I was just telling you that remember that thrice each act should have been done by you, and the fourth day and the day before the exam, make sure if you have one holiday before your law exam or whatever day you are having a law exam, the day before that, each and every syllabus should be given a run through very quickly. You have to do that. So this is the thumb rule. If you really want to remember everything, you don't want to miss upon any kind of thing. All right, so those who are sending the queries related to the page numbers, when I give you the last 15 minutes for this query handling session, then you can specifically write down which act you want to discuss, sale of goods, query, partnership, companies, that I'll give you a specific time. But right now, we will be first concentrating on winding up of the syllabus. And before that, I quickly want to do a very interesting case law also with you, because in companies, we have not done much of the mock test papers. So I first would like to do the mock test papers with you, and then we will go back to our session from where we ended the last time. I have said that, ma'am, we have revised everything, corporate bill theory, classes of companies, and holding and subsidiary also you have revised. So here is the question in front of you, all of you. This is May 2019, question number 6, part C, 3 marks. So if you will see the mock test papers and suggested answers for companies also, around 12 to 15 marks question paper does come from Companies Act as well. So question number 6, C part is generally 3 marks, such kind of question comes. So I give you 2 minutes, quickly read out the question and then you have to send me the answers. Mr. Sarvesh, Shreyas, Tina, Kevin, Sajid, Suchang, Lisa, all of you, welcome children. Tarun, Tamanna, Lisa Jain, Sajid Kumar. All right. So quickly read the question and apply your knowledge of holding and subsidiary company, and you have to send me the answers. So it says Popular Product Limited is a company which was incorporated in India. It has the share capital of INR 20 crores. So now the company's share capital has been disclosed. And it says the share capital consists of equity shares as well as preference shares. So there were 12 lakh equity shares of rupees 100 per share, and there is preference share capital of 8 lakh. If you remember in the last session where we were discussing how much share capital has to be taken in order to find out the 50%, I told you equity and preference, convertible preference share capital as well as equity share capital, both of them are to be considered in totality while calculating the 50% of the share. So now this is just a mere information that they have shared about the Popular Product Company. That this was the company which was having this much share capital. Delight Product Limited, number one point that they have given is Delight Product Limited, and second company is Happy Product Limited holds 2,50,000 and 3,50,000 shares in this Popular Product. So Delight is holding 2,50,000 out of 20 lakh shares, and Happy is holding 3,50,000 shares. Third company, that is Cheerful Product Company, is holding again 2,50,000 shares in Popular Products. So Popular Product is a company having 20 lakh share capital, 2,50,000 is held by Delight, 2,50,000 is held by Cheerful, and 3,50,000 is held by Happy Products. So total 2, 4, 7, 8. So 8,50,000 shares are being held in totality by Delight, Happy, and Cheerful in Popular Product Limited. They are together holding less than 50% of the share capital. What is the 50% of 20 lakhs? 50% of 20 lakh would have been 10 lakh shares. So are they holding 10 lakh? No, ma'am. In totality, they are holding 8.5 lakh of the shares. So they're holding less than 50% of the share capital. So if I simply ask you, do they become holding company? The answer is no, because together also they're holding less than 50% of the share capital. So by virtue of shareholding, they do not become the holding company. Jovial Limited is the now fourth company they have named. Jovial Limited, the happy company, Jovial company, is the holding company of all these three companies, that is Delight, Product, Happy, and Cheerful. So there is Delight, Happy, and Cheerful, three of them, and three of them are being held by Jovial Limited. So Jovial Limited is the major principal holding company, and these three companies are under it. Can we say Jovial is a subsidiary of Popular if it controls the board of directors of Popular Product Limited? So now this Jovial Limited, it said that I am going to control the composition of board of directors of Popular Limited. So does it become subsidiary company? Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and why, ma'am? Please answer me. Thank you, Mr. Sarthak Mohanty. All right. 10 crores. Okay, Mrs. Aisha, 10 crores. So that is the share capital. The number of shares will be 20 lakh shares into 100 each that they have given, right? Yes, I have not. Jovial is an associate company. Okay. Somebody saying it is an associate company since they're holding less than. So holding less than 50%, but more than 20%. And if you're having, or if you're having any significant participation in business decision, excellent, then you become an associate company. But here the question is, does Jovial company becomes a subsidiary? Why or why not? State the related provision means you have to give the answer and why not. What would be the answer? How are we going to answer this one? Aryan says, yes, ma'am, because it controls the board of directors. Therefore, it becomes subsidiary. Excellent, Aryan. Your answer is absolutely wrong. Are you children reading it carefully? I'm asking, do you become a subsidiary company? If I'm holding your board of directors, then do I become a subsidiary or I become a holding company? Excellent, Ritu, Mehek, Richa, all those who have written no, ma'am, he becomes a holding company. Sarvesh again says it's subsidiary because he is trying to control the board of directors decision. No, that's wrong. Kevin is correct. Shriya is correct. Bhumika Chauhan is correct. So children, see how examiner is going to give you such twists and turns in your exam as well. He's saying that if I'm controlling a board of directors, do I become a subsidiary company? Ma'am, if you are controlling the board of directors, then you become holding company, not the subsidiary. So if Jovial Limited controls the composition of directors of Popular Limited, then Jovial will be the holding company. Popular Product will be the subsidiary company. Let me show you how you have to write the answers in the exam, because we have lots and lots of things to do. So all those who have said no was the correct answer, but likhna kaise exam mein, is tarah se you will write. First, you will always share the information that the examiner has given you. हमें अपना दिमाग ही नहीं लगाना, हमें simple लिखना. In the present case, look, the total share capital is 20 lakhs, that is 20 lakh, 12 lakh equity shares and 8 lakh preference shares. This is what is given in the question. Again, second paragraph is the same given in the question. We have just done the calculation. Delight, Happy, and Cheerful are together holding 8,50,000 shares in Popular Product Limited. So Jovial, along with subsidiaries, hold 8,50,000. So now so obviously Jovial was the holding of all the three above. So since Jovial is already holding three companies, so now Jovial Limited is together with these three companies holding 8,50,000 shares, which amounts to less than half of the total share capital. So by virtue of share capital, it is not the holding company. Jovial Limited is not the holding company of Popular Product Limited if we just see it from the viewpoint of shareholding. But ma'am, second question that they have given is, if he's controlling the board of directors, then yes, he will become the holding company and not the subsidiary company. Section 2, subsection 87 of the Companies Act is absolutely optional in CA Foundation. If you can learn the sections, write it. If you cannot learn it, never write a wrong section. You can simply say, as per the provisions of Companies Act 2013, it will become the holding company of Popular and not the subsidiary company. 3 marks question, and you simply write yes or no. I'm going to give you half a mark. And if you write yes, ma'am, he becomes subsidiary, I'm going to give you a big 0, even if you have shown all this working. So be very careful when you read the questions and apply your knowledge and then answer. Another tip I want to give you, while opening mock test papers, don't just jump into the answers first. एक हमारी आदत होती है ना, क्वेश्चन पढ़ के ना पहले आंसर देख लेते हैं. पहले आंसर सोचो. एमसीक्यूज कर रहे हो तो पहले आंसर सोचो, फिर ऑप्शंस पढ़ो. ऑप्शंस भी नहीं पढ़नी जब तक आपने आंसर नहीं सोचा. तो स्टडी मटेरियल में जो भी एमसीक्यूज दिए हैं, the MCQ test that I have uploaded on your PDF portal, do all those kind of MCQs. It helps to clear the concepts. It's very important, children. CA Foundation mein you will not get MCQs, but in CA Intermediate and Final you get huge MCQs. So start practicing, start studying in the same way, because you'll be proceeding to those higher classes as well. So whenever you solve any MCQ, read it, first form the answer in your mind, then see the options. Similarly, mock test papers, read the question, like this question in front of you. Remember 2019 question. Assessee is having a large income. He is dividing it into different companies. सोचो किससे रिलेटेड है. मुझे पता है आपको आता है ये वाला. फटाफट से मुझे इसका 1 लाइन में आंसर दे दो. फिर उसके बाद आपने उसका आंसर पढ़ना है कि केस स्टडी में आंसर दिया क्या. If you'll jump to the answers, you will never able to apply your knowledge. And this is the problem which most of us make the mistakes. We try to learn the answers. We have to apply the knowledge, how the answer has to be framed. All right. So the previous answer that you all have given was correct. Now the answer for this one, if you can just give me, can A be regarded as separate from private limited? What is this concept talking about? If you remember the name of case law, that will be great. If you don't remember, then also it's okay. But I have a confidence that my students will definitely remembering the name of the case law as well. So you can tell me. Yes, I'm waiting for your answers. A is an assessee. He's having huge income. He reduces his income tax by dividing his income into 4 different companies. Income earned was taken as pretended loan, means he's just excellent. Shreya Tiwari is the first one to send the correct answer. Ma'am Dinshaw Manik Petritri case, because he's just creating a sham to evade the taxes. So excellent. Proud of you, children. And after that, 20 more students have written the correct answer. All of you, well done. So this is how you have to write the answer. So मैंने यहाँ पे House of Lords in Salmon versus Salmon and Company Limited. This is, I'm just trying to, if you have really revised, if you have really learned the terminology, you want to impress the, yes, excellent. He talks about corporate bail theory. That's correct, Sarvesh. So if you want to impress the examiner and you have learned such words from the study material, then you can write it in the same way. Otherwise, you can simply mention in a simpler language this first paragraph that this question talks about the corporate veil theory. It means the separate legal existence. Company has a separate existence from its members, and there are many circumstances where this corporate veil can be lifted. All right. So Tanmeet, Surya, Shriya, Richa, Swati, all of your, Aisha, Dhama, Tasneem, Shriya Tiwari, all of your answers were correct. So in Dinshaw Petitji, it was held that the company was not a genuine company, but he is merely TCSC. So same case law, uska reference देंगे आप, and इसकी conclusion में you can say that since these private companies were a sham, corporate veil has to be lifted in order to decide the real owner of the income. That's it. 3 marks question, you will simply write this, and then you conclude that A cannot be regarded as separate. So उन्होंने main question में ये पूछा है कि can you regard it separate? No, ma'am, corporate veil has been lifted. So the A and all these private companies will be considered as one. so that the taxes can be imposed. All right, now let us quickly first complete the syllabus, and then if time permits, we will come back to such questions again. So we have done the case laws also. In the type of companies, we have done associate company also. Let us now start from where we left last time. OPC is very important. अच्छे से पढ़कर जाओगे. December 22 में भी इसका question आया था, conversion into private company. So please read it carefully. All the answers have to be framed in your own language and very nicely. So OPC is a very important concept. Read it. Public, private, holding, associate, all we have done. Listed company, another small amendment that I shared last time also, that if you're just intending to list your securities and you have not listed, till the time you have not listed the securities on stock exchange, you will not be considered as listed company. So only when your securities are listed, trading is happening, your securities, the shares that you have invested in are listed on the stock exchange, then only you become a listed company. And all the Security Exchange Board of India regulations will be applicable to the listed companies. Now, what is a foreign company? Another very important concept of foreign company. So any company which is registered outside India but have a place of business in India. So Mr. Karan opened up a company, ABC Private Limited. So he opened up a company, ABC Private Limited in USA. And that company was into manufacturing of washing machines. But this Mr. Karan is an Indian citizen, so he had a place of business for the same company in India also. So in Delhi, he has taken up an office from where he is operating and doing the similar kind of business which this ABC Private Limited in US is doing. So can we call it a foreign company? Can we say ABC Private Limited is a foreign company? So the answer is yes, it will be considered as a foreign company because a company which is registered, although he has formed the company outside India, but it has a place of business in India and Mr. Karan should be operating. So he must have hired some agent, Mr. A, who is doing the purchase, sales and all the entries in Delhi office. So this business, not just the business place in Delhi, then this business place should also be working. So something has to be made operational in order to call this company as a foreign company. If I say I've registered ABC Private Limited outside India and it does not have any place of business in India, then will you call it a foreign company? Then it is not a company under Companies Act because foreign company to be registered under Companies Act 2013 must have a place of business in India. Then only it will be considered as a foreign company. Section 8 companies are very, very important. We will do each and every line from the study material. It says these are the companies which are open for the charitable objects. So if you want to promote somebody's commerce, artwork, you want to promote, you have opened up a Section 8 company for promotion of sports. So such kind of companies where you're promoting education, you feel that the girl education is very important, women should be given education, women employment, you need to work for that. So all these kind of charitable objects where your motive is not to earn a profit, then you open up Section 8 companies. Section 8 companies were earlier under Companies Act 1956 known as Section 25 companies. Now they have been amended and put under Section 8 companies. So these are the companies which do not have any profit motive. They are simply working for the welfare of the society, protection of environment. Nowadays, we really think about saving the environment. We have faced so much hazards during COVID days also. So we have learned the importance of saving our environment, being healthy. So such kind of companies where you're working for the social welfare, society's welfare, for the human nature, human beings, National Sports Club of India, CII, ये सारी कंपनी होती है Section 8 companies जिनको central government से approval लेना पड़ता है. Now, why central government approval is required? Because Section 8 companies get huge exemptions and deductions and eligibilities for different purposes. Because you're working for the society, government also want to give you certain exemptions. So central government's approval is must for obtaining a license in order to run a Section 8 company. So let a small company you have already done. Let me take you to the study material so we can do each and every line of Section 8 companies. Section 8 companies is again kind of questions come from the in exam also in a kind of a case study. So it's very important. So foreign company we just discussed Section 2 subsection 42. It is having a place of business whether itself or through an agent. physically or electronic mode. So electronic means online भी अगर आपका place of business है, I am working in US and I have my online office from where I'm doing the online operations, then also it will be considered as a foreign company. Some business activity has to be done. So if your body corporated outside India, but it has no office in India, then it will not be foreign company. In order to be registered under Companies Act, you must have any business activity related to that company in India. Section 8 company में आपने ये definition as it is learn करनी है. It is for promoting charitable objects, commerce, art, science, education, etc. That's it. कोई भी याद कर लेना 4-5. It intends to apply its profits for promoting its objects and it's not paying. Prohibiting means it's not paying dividend to its members. Now इसका मतलब क्या है? I am running a company, ABC Private Limited. I'm a shoe manufacturer. I'm a private company, and whatever profits I earn, I pay dividend to shareholders. This is a general scenario of a company. But Section 8 company is not for the profit motive. So it is a kind of an NGO, non-profit organizations, and you are not going to earn any profits. Whatever you will be earning profits, but your profits will only be promoting the object. So if I have opened up a company for promoting education, I will only use the profits for the purpose of this company which I have opened. I will not be giving dividend to my members. So you're not taking any personal profits or dividends at home. Section 8 companies only uses its profits for the purpose, charitable objectives for which it will open the company. Section 8 allows the central government. So central government's registration is must. Central government ने अगर approve नहीं करा तो बेटा आप Section 8 company नहीं खोल सकते. So if you want to open Section 8 company, you will make all the documents, you'll file the applications, you'll file it with the government. If government register you, then only you will be applied to open up a Section 8 company. Such association of persons as a company with limited liability. Very interesting. Ma'am, do they have unlimited liability? No, bacha, they have limited liability, but without the words. So FICCI, SOCHAM, National Sports. Can you see the word limited or private limited? No. You are not supposed to use the word limited or private limited. These are the association of persons. So CII, National Sports Club of India. So National Sports Club of India क्यों खुलेगा? क्योंकि आप sports promote करना चाहते हो. आपने एक organization खोल दी है. लोग आकर अपनी sports activity कर रहे हैं. Physical fitness and training को आप promote करना चाहते हो. तो ये सारी जो companies हैं, इनके जो भी profits आएंगे, जो भी fees endowments आती हैं, वो सारी सिर्फ इस purpose के लिए use होंगे. Ground को clean बनाने में, sports का सामान लाने के लिए लोगों ने जो काम करना है. You will not be declaring any kind of dividends or taking home any kind of profits. And you do not use the word limited or private limited in Section 8 companies, then only central government will issue a license to make you a company with limited liability. So what is the liability of Section 8 companies? It is limited only to the extent of investment made in such companies. Registrar on such application will register such companies and the company enjoy the same privileges as of a limited company. So as we have company limited by shares, company limited by guarantee, जो privileges वो enjoy करते हैं, that उनकी liability restricted रहती है, उसी तरह से Section 8 company को भी same exemptions and privileges दी जाती है. And can we revoke their license? So pehla paragraph, you have to learn their definition of Section 8 companies. Then you will learn central government's approval is required. It is a limited liability company without using the words limited and private liability. हो गया. Third paragraph, revocation. Revocation का मतलब क्या होता था children? Revocation means cancellation of license. Can I cancel your license? The moment central government comes to know that you are doing something against the public interest or you are trying to do any fraudulent activity, you are violating means you are not following the provisions, you are violating the objects of the company. So you open up National Sports Club of India and now instead of promoting national sports, you have started selling the sports item. You are earning, you have made the transactions on a commercial basis. You are commercializing, you are earning out of the business that you are carrying out. Then you are violating the terms of for which the license was given. So central government will order and cancel your license. If you try to contravene, any contravenes means if you do not follow any of the requirement of Section 8 which is given, then your license will be cancelled and central government will make you a company, either a limited or the word private limited will be put against your company. So central government will say, look, you opened up a company for the welfare of society. Now you are selling the cricket bats and balls. You are earning business. So it's okay. You keep on doing. Your Section 8 is cancelled and you either become a limited company or you become a private company. एंड बिफोर सच कैंसिलेशन ही विल सेंड यू रिटन नोटिस. तो एक रिटर्न चिट्ठी आएगी, नोटिस जाएगा गवर्नमेंट से कि हम आपका लाइसेंस कैंसिल करने वाले हैं. अगर आपने इसके लिए कोई सुनवाई करनी है, अपॉर्चुनिटी टू बी हर्ड मींस if you really want to say something in context of that, then please come and present your matter. Otherwise, we're going to cancel your license and we will put the words limited. If you have 7 members, we will be allowing you to put the word limited. If you have just 2 members, we will put the word private limited with your company. You will no longer be Section 8 company. And this order of the central government, यहाँ cancellation था, यहाँ 4th paragraph order की बात करता है कि this order of public central government's order should be in the public interest, and he can say that the company should be amalgamated with another company having the similar object to form a single company. So law can also say that, government can also say, look, now since you have started into commercializing your transaction, you are into sale and purchase of cricket bats and balls. So there are another companies who are doing this business. We amalgamate you with this company and you promote the business. We don't mind. So you form a single company, but you will not be Section 8 company. So either the central government's order can be that order of amalgamation can be given. Amalgamation means to merge, to join some another company. So either you can merge the company with other similar objects, or the company should be wound up. Wound up मतलब company को बंद कर दिया जाए. तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की चॉइस है, वो कोई भी 2 ऑर्डर दे सकता है. Either he will give the order of amalgamating the company with another company having similar objects, or he will say that the company should be wound up. 5th paragraph talks about what are the penalties and punishment. क्या मुझे कोई penalty भी भरनी पड़ेगी, क्या मुझे कोई punishment भी मिलेगी? Yes, if you contravenes any of this, if any default is made, if you do not follow Section 8 provisions, then punishable with a fine of not less than 10 lakh rupees and it extend to 1 crore rupees. So you opened up Section 8 company and you said that I'm going to promote the sports, and now you're not doing that. You are taking fees from the children who are coming to play over there. You're selling them the things. You're contravening Section 8. You're not doing it charitable. 10 lakh fees lag sakti hai, minimum aapko penalty lag sakti hai, and over and above 1 crore tak extend ho sakti hai. So see how much huge risk you are undertaking. And the director and every officer who is in default, 25,000, maximum 25 lakh rupees tak aapki penalty ja sakti. So we can ask you to fill in the penalty. We can ask you fine can be imposed. A penalty means a fine can be imposed. Anyone who contravene the provisions, maximum penalty of 1 crore rupees on the company, and directors can also be fined 25,000 से लेकर 25 lakh rupees तक उनके ऊपर charge लग सकता है. All right, and any officer who still makes a default under 447 section में सारी penalties दी गई हैं Companies Act 2013 के, that can also be charged on the person who is doing any kind of fraud. What we have to learn, ma'am, you simply have to learn if you contravene any provisions, the company will be charged a fine of 10 lakh rupees, maximum 1 crore, and the director 25,000 rupees and maximum 25 lakh. In ये जो नंबर्स होते हैं ना, इसको लिख लिख कर फ्लो चार्ट्स बनाकर छोटी छोटी चीजों में लर्न करने शुरू कर दो, बिकॉज आगे जाकर इंटर में आपको बहुत सारी ऐसी पेनल्टीज अलग अलग अमाउंट की है, फिर आप टेबल बनाकर लर्न करते हो. इन सीए फाउंडेशन कंपनीज एक्ट यू हार्डली हैव 5 to 6 पेजेस, सो 2-4 बारी आपकी पेनल्टीज आती है, तो प्लीज ट्राई टू लर्न इट. स्टार्ट फॉर्मिंग अ हैबिट ऑफ लर्निंग दिस काइंड ऑफ स्टफ. सिंस इट्स अ ह्यूज कंपनी, सेक्शन 8 चैरिटेबल है, तो 1 करोड़ तक जा सकती है. डायरेक्टर की 25,000 से 25 लाख सेम अमाउंट है, सिर्फ अपना फिगर सेम है, बट थाउजेंड्स एंड लैक्स का फर्क है. तो इस तरह करके अपने टिप्स बना के आप लर्न कर सकते हैं. सिग्निफिकेंट पॉइंट्स, तो ये सारी समरी दी हुई है, सेक्शन 8 कंपनी की समरी है. वी डोंट यूज द वर्ड प्राइवेट लिमिटेड और लिमिटेड. स्पेशल लाइसेंस इज गिवन. वी डू नॉट डिक्लेयर डिविडेंड. वी यूज द प्रॉफिट फॉर द प्रमोशन ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट. अगर आपको डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन आ जाए, इसकी समरी लिखकर आ सकते हो आप एग्जाम. ऑन रेवोकेशन क्या होता है? 2 चीजें होती हैं, ईदर यू बिकम लिमिटेड और प्राइवेट लिमिटेड एंड चेंज योर नेम, और यू हैव टू वाइंड अप योरसेल्फ. ओके. And amalgamation with another company is also allowed. You can call a general meeting by giving 14 days notice instead of 21 days. So generally, children, when a notice is required to be called, general meeting is organized for any company, a 14 days notice is required to be sent. A 21 days notice is required in case of any other company. So if you are a company ABC Private Limited and you want to start a meeting, when you go to CA Inter, you have your general meetings, appointment of directors, conventions, all these kind of topics are covered. But here you simply have very briefing, very small things. So वहां पे आप पढ़ोगे कि मीटिंग के लिए जो नोटिस पीरियड होता है जनरली 21 डेज होता है कंपनीज में, बट सेक्शन 8 कंपनीज के लिए 14 डेज का नोटिस भी सफिशिएंट है. तो आपने अगर 14th को मीटिंग करनी है, तो आप 2nd या 1st तक अपना नोटिस दे सकते हैं. 14 डेज का नोटिस हैज टू बी गिवन इन ऑर्डर टू एनहांस द मीटिंग. मिनिमम नंबर ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स, इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर्स कितने होंगे, ये कुछ भी सेक्शन 8 को अप्लाई नहीं करता. तो इट इज नॉट अ कंपनी वेयर यू आर डूइंग एनी काइंड ऑफ बिजनेस वेयर यू हैव टू मेंशन दैट हाउ मेनी डायरेक्टर्स विल बी देयर, हाउ द डायरेक्टर्स विल बी फंक्शनिंग. इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर्स, दिस प्रोविजंस आर नॉट एप्लीकेबल टू सेक्शन 8 कंपनीज. इनके बारे में भी आप सीए इंटरमीडिएट में पढ़ोगे. इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर कौन होता है, कैसे अपॉइंट होता है, कैसे रिमूव होते हैं, ये सारी चीजें. Did not constitute nomination and remuneration committee and shareholders relationship committee. तो अगर आपको सीए फाउंडेशन में 1 या 2 नंबर का कोई ऐसा क्वेश्चन आ जाता है that do we need to form shareholder relationship committee, so section 8 company is not required to fulfill all these kind of requirements. You do not need to form any remuneration committee. The important point over here is, which can come as a part of case study, can a partnership firm be a member of section 8 company? So section 8 company A, B, C were the shareholders. They decided to open up a section 8 company, and ED Associates, a firm, said that I also want to contribute towards the society and I want to be a member in this. So there were 3 shareholders, A, B, and C, and ED Associates, a firm, wants to join in section 8 company. So can this firm ED Associates join? I told you that firm is not a legal person, but section 8 has given the liberty to a partnership firm if it really wants to contribute towards the society, wants to work for the charitable objectives, then a partnership firm can also be a member in section 8 company. So 3 shareholders तो हैं ही, ये ED Associates के अपने partners members होंगे. Firm अपने एक firm खुद भी member बन सकती है. Wants to join section 8 company as a member, it can do so. It can also happen. Okay. So any partnership firm, otherwise partnership firm cannot be a member. Remember, I told you, you can only be the partners in the firm. The firm cannot be a member in another company because it's not a legal person. But however, in case of section 8 company, partnership firm can also join in as a member. So the purpose is to promote charitable objects, no dividend to be paid. The same वही उसने अब उसको diagrammatic way में कर दिया है. स्टडी भी आपको बता रही है कि इस तरह से आप डायग्राम्स बना सकते हो, पॉइंट्स हाईलाइट कर सकते हो, नोटबुक्स में हाइलाइटर यूज करा करो, अंडरलाइनिंग यूज करा करो, कलरफुल पेन्स यूज करा करो, नॉट कलर पेंसिल्स, कलरफुल पेन्स, जस्ट टू मेक योर सब्जेक्ट इंटरेस्टिंग एंड यू स्टार्ट एंजॉयिंग स्टडीइंग इट. तो पेनल्टी आज सारे लिखेंगे अपनी, जो आप नोट्स बनाओगे पिंक कलर में लिख लेना 10 लाख एंड 1 करोड़ वाली पेनल्टी, एंड ब्लू पेन में लिख लेना अपना. फॉर दिस यू कैन यूज दिस कलर पेंसिल्स सो दैट जस्ट टू क्रिएट एन इंटरेस्ट. तो फिर आपको याद रहेगा कि मैंने पिंक कलर में वो पेनल्टी लिखी थी एंड ब्लू कलर में ये वाली पेनल्टी लिखी थी. इट विल हेल्प यू टू मेमोराइज द थिंग्स. ओके. डोरमेंट कंपनीज क्या होती हैं? सेक्शन 455. आई फाइंड द डोरमेंट कंपनीज वेरी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग एंड सिंपल. मैंने आपको बोला बेटा आज हम एक कंपनी फॉर्म कर लेते हैं PQR लिमिटेड, एंड ये हमारी फ्यूचर बिजनेस के लिए है. तो हम 2 साल बाद एक बिजनेस शुरू करने वाले हैं. आज ही कंपनी रजिस्टर करा के रख लेते हैं बिकॉज सो मेनी फॉर्मेलिटीज आर रिक्वायर्ड. वी नीड टू पे द फीस टू द रजिस्ट्रार, वी हैव टू फुलफिल द रिक्वायरमेंट्स ऑफ कंपनीज एक्ट, वी नीड टू अलॉट द शेयर्स, वी नीड टू मेंटेन द ऑफिस एंड रिकॉर्ड्स. सो ऑल दीज काइंड ऑफ फॉर्मेलिटीज आर रिक्वायर्ड. सो PQR लिमिटेड, आई एम फ्री दीज डेज, सो लेट्स गेट द कंपनी रजिस्टर्ड एंड आफ्टर 2 years we'll start the business. So there can be any company which is not carrying any business and we did not do any significant accounting transaction. We got ourselves registered, we paid the fees to the registrar, we did the allotment of shares also, all the things were done. But from last 2 financial years, we have not done any accounting transaction. Accounting transaction क्या होती है? आप बताओ जरा मुझे क्या होती है. अकाउंट्स पढ़ा है ना आपने? सेल, परचेज, एंट्रीज करना, जर्नल एंट्रीज डालना, सब्सिडरी में बुक्स में अपना उसकी अकाउंटिंग फर्दर करना, रेक्टिफिकेशन ऑफ एरर करना, ऑल दीज काइंड ऑफ ट्रांजेक्शंस, रेवेन्यू बुकिंग, प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट. वी डिड नॉट डू एनी काइंड ऑफ बिजनेस. We did not do any kind of accounting transaction, and neither we filed the financial statement. What are the financial statements? Trading and profit and loss account and balance sheet, and annual return भी हमने फाइल नहीं करी. तो हमने बेटा कोई बिजनेस करा ही नहीं. हमने कंपनी रजिस्टर करा दी PQR लिमिटेड, बट इट वाज नॉट डूइंग एनी बिजनेस एंड ऑपरेशन. नंबर 1, वी आर नॉट डूइंग एनी बिजनेस एंड ऑपरेशन. नंबर 2, वी डिड नॉट डू एनी अकाउंटिंग ट्रांजेक्शन from the last 2 financial years, and number 3, we did not file our financial statements and the annual returns also for the last 2 financial years. So in such case, registrar will come, it will make an application. Look, you are only registered for a future project or to hold an asset. you have not done any accounting transactions, please you make an application to the registrar and you get the status of a dormant company. तो 2 साल के लिए जो कंपनी कोई काम नहीं करती है, रजिस्टर्ड है, वो किसी फ्यूचर प्रोजेक्ट को होल्ड करती है या फिर किसी एसेट को होल्ड करने के लिए सिर्फ कंपनी बनी है, उसको रजिस्ट्रार ऑफ कंपनीज एक डोमिनेंट कंपनी का स्टेटस दे देता है. डोमिनेंट मींस स्लीपिंग कंपनी. रिमेंबर, डोमिनेंट पार्टनर. Inactive company, that means this company is an inactive company. It is not actually doing any kind of business. So now my question to my class is, if I got myself registered as ABC Private Limited, I got myself registered as ABC Private Limited, and I did not file my financial statements in last 2 years. I did not file my return for the last 2 years. I did not do any accounting transactions, but I have been making payment of fees to the registrar, and I have also allotted the shares, and also I pay the maintenance of office and records. Do I become a dormant company? Yes or no? बताओ मुझे. Do I become a dormant company? Bhumika, Ashutosh, Ritu, Surya, all those who are asking the queries related to order of the central government. So Section 8 company, where you have decided to form the company for a charitable object and you do not fulfill the object, you're paying the dividend to members, you're doing commercial transactions, then central government, number one, will cancel your this license of Section 8 company. And order of central government means that the central government will pass an order while cancelling revocation of your license. He will pass the order that number one, either you convert your status, you become a public company or private company. So if you are 3 members, what company can you become? Section 8 companies. If you were just 3 members, then ma'am, we can only become a private company, because for public, we need minimum 7 members. So, or you can just wind up the company. This order can be passed that we are not satisfied, you're really doing a fraud, you have started doing illegal business, you're supplying drugs. So central government will say, wind up this company, close it. Or central government can say that, okay, fine, now you are doing business also. So amalgamate means to merge yourself. किसी कंपनी दूसरी कंपनी के साथ जाकर मिल जाओ और एक ही कंपनी बन जाओ, पर आप अब सेक्शन 8 कंपनी नहीं रहो. All right. So Bhumika Chauhan, when they amalgamate themselves, then they don't need any further license. They can work under the single company in that very case. I forgot my question. So ABC Private Limited, I have asked a question to all of you that whether it becomes a dormant company. So yes or no. Radhesham says yes, ma'am. Bhumika says no. Richa says no. Kevin, why does no? Bhumika and Richa, why are you saying no? Your answer is wrong. Yash, your answer is wrong. Kevin, right. Aisha, right. Lisa, right. Aditya, right. Yes, ma'am, because those transactions were for registration. Excellent, Mr. Aditya Darshan. Tiwari Radhesham, correct. Aryan Sandeep, again, wrong. Partikars Baba Sahib, wrong. Richa Kumari, again, you're wrong when you're saying no, it's not a dormant company. Why are you saying that? Give me the reason. No, ma'am, as you did not prepare any accounting. So, Mr. Suchang, I did not prepare any accounting transactions. So, yes, ma'am, I become a dormant company. So, yes is the correct answer. Ms. Arpi Shah, it becomes a dormant company. You don't need to file any case. You simply become a dormant company if you're not carrying the business from last 2 years. So Miss Mehak Roy, this is the what I was trying to explain you. She is saying that it does not become a dormant company because we are registered and payments are being made and we are fulfilling the requirements as an active company. So read this paragraph carefully. Significant accounting transaction means any transaction other than these 4. So if you're just doing these 4 transactions, it does not mean that these are the accounting transactions. If you're only doing these 4 transactions and you are not filing the annual return, you're not filing the financial statements, and you're just holding the company for the future project or an asset, then you become a dormant company. Significant accounting transactions होती हैं, जैसे कि sale purchase करना, depreciation on fixed assets, purchase करने आपने fixed assets, आप काम कर रहे हो, revenue earn कर रहे हो, turnover ले रहे हो, ट्रांजेक्शन्स अपने बुक कर रहे हो, जर्नल एंट्रीज डाल रहे हो, तो ये सब तो हमने करा ही नहीं, बिजनेस तो करा नहीं। तो अगर आपको एग्जामिनर बोलता है ये जो मैंने रेड पेन से करा है, अगर आप ये 4 ट्रांजेक्शन्स कर रहे हैं और इसके अलावा और कोई काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, तो यस मैम वी बिकम अ डोमेन। क्लियर हो गया डोमेन कंपनी का स्टेटस? ऑलराइट, लेट्स मूव अहेड. Meaning of Nidhi companies. Nidhi companies are very, very important and very, very simple definition. Nidhi companies are simply the companies in order to. Good. Richa says, now I've understood. Great. Majid Khan, that's correct. Sarvesh, that's correct. Good. Mr. Suchang, hope you're also clear now. Okay, let's proceed further. Meaning of Nidhi companies. So Nidhi companies are generally for the encouraging the saving habits among the people. So like we form committees और जैसे आपके मम्मा किट्टी डालते हैं आपस में कि हम सारा पैसा पूल इन कर लेते हैं and as and when required we can use that amount. So Nidhi companies are those kind of companies which function on the basis of that. It's a mutual benefit society. So Nidhi or mutual benefit society means you, me, and 3 of my friends, we thought that we are not in a habit of saving money. So let's collect a pool of money together. And as and when required, we will take the money out of that pool. So for that, we form a mutual benefit society. Central government will give us a notification. So again, Section 8 companies में जैसे central government की approval चाहिए होती है, ऐसे ही निधि company जो कि saving promote करने के लिए, उसके लिए भी central government की notification and official gazette से approval चाहिए होती है. So he will give you a public approval by notification in the official gazette. He will declare that it is a Nidhi company or mutual benefit society company. You simply have to write down for Nidhi company. These are the companies to promote and encourage the habit of saving among people. So a collective pool is collected by all the members, is contributed, and as and when requirement, the money from that pool can be used. That is the only meaning of mutual benefit society. Means एक दूसरे के benefit के लिए हमने पैसा इकट्ठा करा. And what are public financial institutions? All my students knows public financial institutions. These are the institutions, not a bank, but some functioning like a bank, like borrowing, lending, taking loan. All these kind of functions are done as a public financial institution. For example, LIC, Infrastructure Development Finance Corporation, IDFC, Unit Trust of India, all those companies where mutual funds, investments, all these kind of things are done. And any other institution with central government declared to be a public financial institutions. These institutions are established under central and state state government. So they are specifically established by the Central or State Act, and 51% of the shareholding is held by the government in such companies. So how much shareholding has to be held in public financial institutions? 51% of the paid up share capital is controlled by central and state government in case of public financial institutions. Public financial institutions are similar to the bank, but it is not actually a bank. It has the same functioning as the functioning of a any kind of financial institutions. Okay, they are established under any central and state act. तो आपके जो भी registered place होती है उसके act के according ये institutions बनते हैं. All right, and what have we learned further ahead in LIC Incorporation? Although Companies Act 2013 is applicable to such kind of organizations, but where the provisions are inconsistent, their LIC Act will be applicable, or IDFC company which is formed under IDFC Act, their act will be applicable. So Unit Trust of India is formed under transfer of undertaking and repeal. Although their own provisions are applicable, but Companies Act provisions are also applicable to all these kind of organizations. All right, so we come to an end to the types of companies. Now we have to start a very important and interesting topic, that is a registration and incorporation of company. But before that, any doubts in types of companies, because then it's very difficult to come back into this. Ashutosh Pani and Nidhi companies are basically for encouraging the investments among people. So if I really want you to start investing money and you should be, saving money, then you can invest in mutual benefit society. People can come together, a pool is formed where the money is contributed, and as and when there is any requirement, somebody needs the money, the pool can be shared, money from that pool can be shared with that particular person. So it has its own rules and regulations, but as of now, you simply have to remember it is for the encouraging the habit of saving. Excellent, Gopal Mishra and Chichang, Richa, Khan Moje, those who have written it's crystal clear. Bhumika Chauhan, absolutely fine, that's great. So since you all have given a green signal, I think we can move ahead. Now let's start with the mode of registration and incorporation of a company. So today we are going to incorporate, register a company. So I told you earlier also that Okay, Mr. Burani, for dormant company, you can refer to the whatever I have said. That is only sufficient information. So, Mr. Burani, for dormant company, for 2 last financial years, if your company is not doing any significant accounting transaction, you're not filing the financial statements, then a status of dormant is given. Dormant means inactive, means a sleeping company. अगर सिर्फ आप 4 transactions जो वहां पर दी हुई हैं, that is not a significant accounting transaction. If you're only doing that and not doing anything else in that in that company, then you become a dormant company. Yes, Aditya Darshan, any company can be a holding and subsidiary. Even if private company is trying to hold the shares in another company, you simply have to see if you are holding more than 50% of the share capital of the particular company, and or you're controlling the board of directors. So if ABC Private Limited is trying to control the board of directors of any other company, then ABC Private Limited will become holding company and the other company will become subsidiary company. Clear, Mr. Darshan? All right. Now let's incorporate the company. The term promoter was taught to you in the last class also. Promoter means a person who comes up with a business idea. So any person who has been named as a promoter means a person, it's in simple terms, let's read it. A person who formed the company are known as promoters. It is one who has conceived the idea, means who has come up the idea of forming the company, and he's going to take up all the necessary steps for the registration. So there were 3 friends, C, D, and E. And they said that now, since we have started learning about how the companies are formed, so why don't we set up our own private limited company? Can C, D, and E set up a public company? चलो मुझे ये बताओ. C, D, and E और इनका एक और friend है F, and they want to set up a company, public limited company. Can they set up a public limited company? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? जल्दी बताओ फटाफट से. C, D, E, and F are good friends and they want to set up a business. They are promoters. Since they have come up an idea of setting up the company, they are known as promoters, and they want to set up a company of sale and purchase of manufacturing of mobile phones. So nowadays children are very fond of mobiles. So you want to set up a company for sale and purchase of mobile. You want to be mobile manufacturers, and C, D, and E, F thought that let's set up a public company. Pramod and Ananya Kumari says no. Mehak and Anusta Kumari and 5-6 more students says, yes, ma'am. Can you tell me, Mehak Roy? Yes, ma'am. Why yes, ma'am? How can they set up? Why do you say yes and why Pramod you say no? Please always give a reason also for yes and no. It should not be simply a guesswork. Again, yes, no, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, ma'am. Alternative answers are coming. Children, C, D, E, and F are 4 members. How can you set up a public limited company? How many number of members are required to set a public limited company? 7 or more in case of a public limited company, and 2 or more persons in order to set up a private company, and 1 person where the company is to be formed as OPC. Excellent, RN Kumar, RP. Mr. Darshan, yes, they can. No, they cannot, Mr. Darshan, because minimum 7 number of members are required. Priyanka, your answer was also wrong. Shreya is right. Vaishnavi says no because minimum 7 members are required. All those who have said yes, Gopal Mishra, minimum 3 is not correct. 7 has to be there. Natasha Chopra, Vaishnavi, all of you are correct, children. So unless and until you don't have 7 members, you cannot set up a public company. And for private company, can they set up a private company? Yes, ma'am. Minimum 2 members were there. So 4 of them are there. So they can set up a private limited company. ये तो basic चीजें हैं, पता होनी चाहिए आपको. I don't know why so many of you have sent the wrong answers. Yes, Miss Khan Mojad, that's correct. Minimum Ritu Radhesham Tiwari, great. So minimum 7 members are required. So examiner can ask you such kind of twisted questions. कि 4 promoters थे, उनके पास business idea था, उन्होंने registration कराई. Can they register themselves as public limited company? No, because minimum number of members must be 7. Then only you can register yourself as a public limited company. So promoter is a person. CD have come up with a business idea that we want to be manufacturer of mobile phones, and they had this conceived the idea, means they had this idea and they took the steps for registration. Therefore, they are known as promoter of the company. जो बंदा business idea लेकर आता है उसको बोलते हैं promoter. Person acting only in professional capacity like solicitor, banker, accountant will not be regarded as a promoter. So जो भी इनकी banker बैंक help करेगा इनकी company setup करने में loan देगा या फिर me as a chartered accountant मैं इनकी declaration sign करूंगी तो हमें promoter नहीं कहा जाता है. ये तो जो subscribers to memorandum है जिन्होंने memorandum of association बनाएंगे फिर क्या करेंगे C D E and F ये बिजनेस आइडिया लेकर आया है प्रमोट करना चाहते हैं एक बिजनेस शुरू करना चाहते हैं तो ये प्रमोटर है ये एक एमओए बनाएंगे ड्राफ्ट मेमोरेंडम ऑफ एसोसिएशन उसमें सारी डिटेल्स लिखेंगे हमारी कंपनी कहाँ पे सेटअप होएगी बिजनेस नेम क्या होएगा all these kind of things and then they will make an articles of association that is the rules and regulations of their company and then they sign it. After signing it they will get all these documents registered with the registrar of companies and that is how the incorporation of company will take place. So all these people are known as the promoter who are setting up, who are trying to set up the company. And once the company is set up, then these promoters become the members in this company. See, so big they have written public company, 7 or more members, private company, 2 or more members. All right. So after setting up the company, these promoters will become members. Incorporation of a company. So have you understood who is a promoter? Somebody is forming the company and this is the formation of company. Minimum number of members required. And for one person, only one person is required. And he should always name whom does he need to name? Anything else is required? Can promoter be more than one? Yes, Bhumika Chauhan, why not? If you're a private company, then 2 promoters, public company, then 7 promoters. Yes, Miss Mehak Roy, absolutely correct. Don't worry. Gradually you will learn the things. It's okay even if you make mistakes, children. You're doing it for the first time, so it's absolutely fine. Incorporation of company. Section 7 says how the company, the procedure to be followed for incorporating the company. So now this is a very simple procedure. It simply says that what documents needs to be filed with the registrar. So first of all, I'll just take out from the presentation because it's a little simpler in the presentation. So MOA and AOA, memorandum and articles will be duly signed and filed with the registrar. Declaration, registration requirements. So a declaration, you will go to a chartered accountant, he will see that all the requirements has been nicely filed, everything is correct. He will give a declaration and sign it. Maybe a CA or a lawyer or ICWA, he will give the declaration. Then the declaration by subscribers and first directors. You will always name the first directors who are going to act as the first directors in your company. They will be named and they will also sign the declaration that everything is fine, their name is correct, address is correct, and they will sign it. What address you're going to give for correspondence, which company you're going to run, particulars of every subscriber means their name, their age, and other things. All the particulars of the person mentioned in articles are subscribed. All the interest of the people. So everybody who is mentioned needs to sign the articles and memorandum, and all these documents will be filed with ROC, who is the ROC registrar of companies. तो आप ये सारे डॉक्यूमेंट फाइल करोगे एंड रजिस्ट्रार ऑफ कंपनीज के पास लेकर जाते हो. रजिस्ट्रार ऑफ कंपनीज विल चेक दैट ऑल दीज डॉक्यूमेंट्स आर करेक्ट, everything is in place, all these names are absolutely correct, addresses are valid, your authentication validation will be done, and he will allot you a corporate identity number, that is SIN. So corporate identity number, that means ABC company has a corporate identity number. Now you're going to get yourself registered and company will maintain all the documents. And suppose CDEF have come to me. Now CDEF Private Limited, they will be given a SIN number and they will be required to maintain all the documents at their place of business. And then they are issued the certificate of incorporation. The certificate of incorporation has to be kept where the company is running. Have you noticed all the shops, those who have got the GST number, they have written outside their shop number, the GST number is labeled and clearly written over there. Similarly, a certificate of incorporation, if you have a company, your certificate should be there in the company. It should be maintained. The document has to be maintained at the place of business. That it's a registered company, it's an incorporated. कि कल को आपके साथ कोई business करने आ रहा है तो ये कोई fraud आपने दुकान नहीं खोली हुई है, आपकी registrar of companies के पास incorporated company. And you try to cheat, you give any false information, it will be treated as fraud under section 447. Ma'am, we don't have to do 447. जो बच्चे पूछ रहे हैं मैम हमने 447 पूरा लर्न करना है, नहीं चाहिए, आपने बिल्कुल लर्न नहीं करना है. अभी आपको सिर्फ ये पता होना चाहिए कि जो भी इसकी पेनल्टी है कॉन्ट्रावेंशन से सेक्शन 447 में सारा डिटेल दिया हुआ है. So you simply need to remember that it is given under there. What fine will be charged? Nothing has been given. The information which is given in CA Foundation study material, only that you have to remember and learn as of now. Order of company law tribunal. So their central government was giving order here, NCLT, that is National Company Law Tribunal. Tribunal ये company का court होता है. Company Law Tribunal means the court of the company. So companies have their different tribunals, they have different courts. So National Company Law Tribunal will pass an order that this company should not be registered or its name should be removed if any kind of fraud is seen in the papers and the documents which they have filed with the registrar of companies. And on registration, what happens then? This is a simplified performer for incorporating a company electronically. Since nowadays we can do business electronically also, everything is online. We are having a class with you, it is also online. So similarly, the companies can also get themselves registered sitting at home. They will just go to the MCA site, that is Ministry of Corporate Affairs site. They will download Spice Plus wala form and they will simply fill in the details. This is an easy method of doing business. You simply go and fill the simplified performer given in the online site. And once your form has been registered, certificate of incorporation is given, section 9 becomes applicable. That is, you get the legal corporate personality, which has a perpetual existence. What is the meaning of perpetual existence? Means your company is never gonna die. It continues to remain as long as the people continue in that. All right. So once the company has been registered, once it has been incorporated, it gets the legal personality status and along with the perpetual existence. Section 7 and 9 are very, very simple. After the break, I'll try to take up the case laws. Okay, we have, okay, before that, I want to tell you OPC conversion. This question came in November 2019 exam. So I have voluntarily written over here because now this has been omitted with respect to 1st April 2021. So 2019 ka paper deke confuse mat ho jana. Conversion of OPC into private limited has now been omitted. This provisions of 2 crore and other things have been omitted from 2021. Okay. All right, we'll do this respective case law also after the break. So let's take a small break here. Meanwhile, you just go through the incorporation of companies, and if any doubts, I'm here checking out your doubts. You can send me your doubts. Let's take a small break. All right, welcome back, students. Let us quickly complete this Jan 2021 examination question and then we'll proceed to the study material. To complete the registration of company. Filing of documents, the last point. Ms. Shriya Tiwari will take the same point from the study material as well. As of now, quickly, all of you go through this question and you have to send me the answers. ABC Limited was registered as a public company. The number of members were directors and the relative 190. Employees were 15 and ex-employees were 20. Others 10, including 10 joint holders jointly held in the name of father and son. Board of directors proposed to convert it into private company. So it was a public limited company. And now I want to convert itself into a private company. Whether any reduction in the number of members is required, yes or no? So examiner is not going to ask you the procedure of conversion because this is not part of a syllabus, but number of members is always a part of syllabus. So apply your knowledge and understanding of number of members and answer me this question in front of the screen. Can we convert without reducing any number of members? Yes or no? I have still not received any answer so far. So you must be applying your knowledge. That's great. We are 10 directors, 15 employees, 20 ex-employees. We want to do conversion. So how many minimum number of members are required in public and private and how many maximum number of members can we have? Use that knowledge to understand the same. Okay, Surya Kumari, that's great. Yes, Gopal Mishra, that's correct. Sarthak Mohanty says no, ma'am. Reason why no, why yes. All those who are saying yes, why yes. If no, then why no. All right, let's quickly do the answer because you're taking too long to answer this one. So in the given case, ABC Limited was having 245 members in the company. Board of directors want to convert it. So you can simply give a definition. Yes, because there is a reduction of number of members is required. Okay, Aisha Sood says yes, reduction is required. M. Goda says yes. Vaishnavi says yes. Okay, no, ma'am. Somebody saying no, somebody saying yes. Okay, let's quickly wind it up. Listen to it. Limit the number of members to 200. So all those who have said that, ma'am, maximum number of members in private company should be 200. That is correct. So you know what you have to actually see. However, here the number of members are 245. How they have done the calculation, you can just do it. 245, but we have to see whether we have excluded the number of employees or not. That was the main hidden point. So how you have to present the answer, let us just understand the analysis given over here. So first you will simply write what is given in the question. So you have given the definition of a private company, section 2, subsection 68. You can leave the section. Companies Act defines a private company, limits the number of members to 200. It is a company other than the public limited company. Anywhere where 2 or more persons shares are held, it will be treated as a single member. So how many joint shares are being held? 10 joint shareholders holding jointly in the name of father and son. So there were 20 people and 10 were the joint holders. So this 10 was included in this 20 as well. So they will be treated as one single member. All the one or more shares jointly held will be treated as one. Also, the people not included are the members who are in the employment of the company and who were formerly in the employment. Formerly means earlier, past employees. So those who are in the employment of the company, they will not be included and the earlier employees will not be included. However, have continued to be members after the employment ceased. So even if you were earlier employees, you will not be included. So what we have to exclude from here? So all these members, earlier employees 15 and ex-employees with the shares were allotted 20 will not be counted for seeing the number of members. And this others 10, including 10 joint holders, so those 10 will be treated as combined only. All right. So how many number of members are we having? It says it has A company is having 255 numbers, including their directors of the company. So it says facts of the case are ABC has the members consisting directors, relatives, employees, and ex-employees. In order to meet the requirement, the number should be restricted to 200. So here the number is restricted to 200. That is 190 plus 10. How many members have you counted? You have simply taken 190 directors and the relatives plus the 10 joint holders will be considered, because they will be counted as all the people who are jointly holding will be considered as one shareholder. So these 10 shareholders will be considered as the members. So 190 plus 10. So maximum 200 members are allowed, and this restricts. So ABC Limited converted shall not be required to reduce the number of members, as it is already fulfilling the requirement of maximum 200 members. अभी 4 number का question है. It was 4 marks question, Jan 2021. Last year it has come, last to last year. But this is how you have to frame the answer. First, you have to apply your knowledge, whether these are to be excluded. So 20 employees, 15 employees, all will be excluded. They will not be counted in the members. The only glitch over here was others 10, which says 10 joint, 20 में 10 joint holders included थे. तो हमें other employees तो लेने ही नहीं है, but 10 joint holders जो हमने कहा कि यहाँ पे हम ले सकते हैं. 2 or more people who are holding the shares jointly will be counted as a single member. So all these 10 shareholders will be counted as the 10 members. Therefore, 190 plus 10 will be 200 members. So there was no need to reduce the number of members. ठीक है, समझ आ गया. Another May 2019 question was a very straightforward question. 6 marks question has come. What do you mean by companies with charitable purpose? Mention the conditions of the issue and revocation of license. तो सारा हमने जो paragraph पढ़ा है, significant points of Section 8 companies will be laid out. Order of revocation of central government by central government and order of central government has to be written. No need to write the punishable offense. If you remember, you can write the penalty also, but here you simply need to mention about the companies, FICCI, National Sports Club of India examples have to be given. Clear है, straightforward questions भी आते हैं Section 8 companies के. These are another questions. These are all important questions, children. Please go through all these questions. I have included it in your presentation. It is uploaded. Keep revising it and keep doing it. If you want, we can do this one also. It's very simple. Here, he's simply trying to tell you about how the percentage of share has to be calculated out of the associate company relationship. So your equity shares plus the convertible preference shares का total कर लेंगे हम, and उसका 20% देख लेंगे. Even if you're not having 20%, if you're having significant influence, means if you're participating in the business decisions, then also you can be considered as an associate company. So you can do this question on your own because it will take again huge time. It's very, very simple. Let's now move ahead to classification of capital, and don't worry, we will take the registration of companies also from the study material, children. Yes, Radhesham, that was correct answer. So no changes are required. Sarvesh, Sharon, all of you are correct. Let's proceed ahead with the classification of capital, children. So what is meaning of capital? This picture clearly tells you the balance sheets that you have been seeing in accounts chapter, how the balance sheet is made. There is an authorized share capital. Then you have the issued share capital. Out of the issued, there is a subscribed and unsubscribed capital. So for the companies raising their subscribed capital, what is the capital that you have to see in order to make investment in the company? This is the paid up capital, is the final capital that comes here in the balance sheet. So what is the meaning of nominal and authorized share capital? Number one, nominal and authorized share capital is the maximum capital that the company has decided to raise. So I want to start a shoe business and I have decided my authorized share capital maximum I will be raising up till 1 crore rupees. This is the hidden capital which remains on the inner side of the balance sheet, and outside the main capital which will come is the paid up capital. So nominal and authorized capital is the maximum capital that the person has thought to raise in order to do the business. Issued capital is, okay, fine. I said that 10 lakh I'm throwing out to the public in order to raise the issue, subscribe. So I have issued 10 lakh of the capital. I'm going to start my business. 10 lakh पैसा मैं अभी लगा दूंगी. उसके लिए मैंने subscribers invite करे हैं. See, this is the issued capital 10 lakh. How much capital is subscribed or taken up by the public? So say, for example, public has taken up 8 lakh shares at the rate of rupees 10 per share. So subscribers that were invited were 80 lakh. 80 lakh is the capital that has been invited. 8 lakh shares have been sent at the rate of rupees 10. Then you have your call money, share application, share allotment. So say, for example, if we have called up for rupees 8 per share were called up. So 8 lakh shares, rupees 8, 6 lakh 40,000 will be my called up capital. However, the paid up capital. Remember the call in arrears? So if we had call in arrears of rupees 2 per share, so that means my paid up capital was rupees 6 per share. So 8 lakh shares at the rate of rupees 6 per share, 4,80,000 will be my paid up capital. So the final capital which has been paid up, which has been called, invited from the public. So this is the capital which you have to see. For example, if you want to make any investment in any kind of company, you will never see their authorized capital. Authorized का मतलब तो होता है कि इतनी authorization power मेरी है, इतनी maximum capital मैं raise कर सकती हूँ. Subscribed, issued, none of these capitals needs to be seen. We always have to see the paid up capital of the company in order to make the investment decisions of the company. Clear ho gaya? Types of capital. So you can read this as well. And types of shares. There are two types of shares. One is equity shares. One is preference shares. So equity shares, जो आपकी normal share capital होती है, that is known as equity shares. It might have uniform voting rights or differential voting rights. What is the meaning of uniform voting rights? I take up 1 share in the company, I get dividend equivalent to 1 share. Differential voting rights means if I take 10 shares in the company, they will be considered as a 1 share. Now you will say, ma'am, why would you like to go with the differential voting rights? Tata company recently issued a differential voting rights. It said, okay, if you hold 10 shares in my company, that will be regarded as 1. But the dividend will be 5% additional dividend will be given to such shareholders. So the benefit of differential voting rights is you get a dividend over and above the normal shareholdings, equity shareholders. And what is the meaning of preference shareholders? Preference means किसी को ज़्यादा preference देना, biased होना किसी की तरफ. As the name English word suggests, preference. So my preference is I would like to buy iPhone or I would like to buy OnePlus. So what is your preference? What is your choice? So similarly, preference share capital are those which are given preference over the equity shareholders. They are more preferred. They are more liked by the company. So if you are a preference shareholder, you will be given preference on the payment of dividend as well as on the repayment of capital. So preference share capital की definition आपने सिर्फ इतनी याद करनी है. These are the shares which are given more preference over the equity shareholders. So if I have 1 crore dividend, first I will pay to the preference shareholders and then balance dividend will be given to the equity shareholders. If I am winding up my company, I want to repay the capital. I will first repay the capital of preference shareholders and then I pay back the capital of equity shareholders. Clear ho gaya? Now let's do certain cases from the study material first, and then we will be left with MOA and AOA, the most interesting and easiest topics of the day. I know you find them tough, but you'll start finding them easy in a while. So section 7 ki compilation we have already done. Somebody was having a doubt over here. Particulars of the interest. So all the name of the persons mentioned in the memorandum means all the promoters, C, D, E, F, जो भी promoters हैं उनके सारा नाम, addresses, सब कुछ mention होना चाहिए, including their identity proof in this particular document. And interest of the persons mentioned in the articles are first directors. So for example, Mr. D and E said that we want to be the first directors in the company. So their name, addresses, all the body corporates, relationship, consent to act as director. So they will file a consent form that yes, okay, fine, we have agreed to act as a director. All these kind of declarations needs to be filed with the registrar. And once he is satisfied, he will issue your SIN number. All the maintenance of documents to be done at the office place. ये सारा वही लिखा हुआ है जो हमने presentation में discuss करा था. And any false information you give, 447 will become applicable and fine will be charged. Order of tribunal will be final. What will be the order of tribunal? He will either direct the liability shall be unlimited. He can say that now we make your company's liability unlimited if you have done any kind of fraud. Or he will remove your name from the registrar of companies, binding up orders will be given, or whatever orders he feel fit will be given. So examiner can give you 3 marks questions. What order of tribunal can come in case he is not satisfied? So these are the orders which tribunal can pass. What is the tribunal? National Company Law Tribunal, NCLT. That is the court which is taking care of the company's matters. And before giving the order, please give an opportunity of being heard. You should give an opportunity. Notice should be given to the company that you can come and represent yourself. Electronically वाला भी पढ़ लिया था हमने. MCA has simplified the filing of forms. You simply go to the Spice Plus form on the MCA website and you can fill that. What is the effect of registration? यहाँ पे Harinagar Sugar Mills Limited versus SS Chunjunwala is a very important case law which tells you, children, that after the incorporation, the company becomes a separate legal person from its members. Yes, ma'am, we know that. And the company comes into existence with a perpetual existence. Company will not come to an end unless and until you strike off its names from the registrar of companies. So company has a legal person and company has a perpetual existence until it is dissolved by liquidation. So in Junjunwala case, it was held that if whether the company, even if the members are not there, will the company come to an end? They said, no, you have to dissolve it by liquidation. Liquidation means winding up. तो जैसे हम डिसोल्यूशन ऑफ फर्म बोलते हैं, कंपनी के केस में वर्ड यूज होता है वाइंडिंग अप और लिक्विडेशन. लिक्विडेट कर देना मींस क्लोज कर देना कंपनी. So company is dissolved by liquidation. The assets will be sold, liabilities will be paid off, or you can get its name struck from the registrar of companies. A shareholder does not buy and trust in the property of the company. You can write down in your simpler language, the property of the company is different and property of the shareholders is different. This is what it is trying to say, that your property is different from the shareholders. A legal personality emerges from the registration. The moment your company is registered, a legal personality comes into existence. All these case laws, State Trading Corporation, Spencer and Company Limited, each and every case law tells you that the company has a separate legal existence and it is different from its members. Company has the corporate character. So even if you are having a subsidiary company and holding company, the subsidiary company still have its structure as a corporate legal personality. You cannot say that if I am holding company and I'm holding CD Limited, so CD Limited just become my agent. So no subsidiary company will you become your agent. It has its own identification. So a company purchases shares of another company and becomes a controlling company. Yes, ma'am, that means it becomes a holding company. But just merely because it is a holding company does not mean that the corporate character of the company will end. It will still continue to have its separate legal existence. It will not act as an agent. This is what was held in Madras, CWT Madras Company Limited. Okay, so Spencer Company Limited में केस में ये हुआ था, उसने बोला कि अब मैं होल्डिंग कंपनी हूँ तो आप मेरी सब्सिडरी बन गए, तो आपका तो लीगल एग्जिस्टेंस खत्म हो गया बिकॉज आप मेरी कंट्रोल. But law said this existence of the subsidiary company will still hold the legal separate existence. Even in the heavy electrical union versus state of Bihar, इसमें क्या हुआ था, इसमें उसने बोला कि government ने was holding all the shares of the company. So it became government company. So it says even if government, central government, even if the president of India and other officers are holding shares in your company, then also it does not become an agent of the central government. It will never become an agent. We don't have mutual agency relationship. If it is your subsidiary, even if you're a government company, government is holding stake, then also the legal identity of the company will still remain a separate legal existence. The company can own the property on its own. It can be sued on its own name. Its legal existence will not come to an end, even if there is a holding company on its head, or if the government company is holding all the shares of the company. Then also it will not become an agent. All right. Classification of capital we have done. Share capital, equity and preference share capital. So this is what I was trying to tell you about the equity shareholders, that Tata Motors issued the differential voting rights. It says that A equity share rights will have the differential voting rights. So every 10 equity shares will carry one right with the 5% more dividend. So DVRs are issued generally in order to promote more shareholding. So although they do not have similar voting rights, but they are given the additional advantage over the payment of dividend. Okay. Now let's start with a very important topic, because we have to complete 3-4 case laws over here, 2 important case laws over here, and 3 doctrines. So let's try to finish it off and then we will move to the queries. So what is the meaning of Memorandum of Association? Yes, we have just discussed the case laws. I hope those who were asking, now you're clear about the case laws and registration of company. Memorandum of Association. Memorandum means the charter of the company, children. I told you memorandum is a very, very important document of the company. It defines the object for which the company is formed. It will tell the shareholders and creditors, all those who deal with the company, that what are the powers of the company. So it is a public document which should be kept open. Whenever anyone wants to deal with the company, he should be given the right to read this public document. So if I am a company, I formed a company A Private Limited, and you as a customer want to deal with me, you will first read my Memorandum of Association. It is the duty of the outsider. Shareholders must know for what purpose their money is going to be used by the company. So what risk he's taking in making the investment. If you want to make investment in my company, better go and read my memorandum. You should know what business I'm doing. Don't trust the person. Don't trust the directors. MOA is a public document. You should always read what are the powers of the company. Say, for example, I am a private limited and my business is to deal into manufacturing of clothing. You came to me and you said, ma'am, we want financing of a construction line. Can you finance a business? So I am into manufacturing of clothing. I'm nowhere into finance, but in the greed of money, I signed the contract with you. Am I supposed to do that financing? Yes or no? You tell me. As a man of ordinary prudence, as a layman, आप मुझे ये सोच के बताओ मेरी होते हैं हम लोग कपड़ा बनाते हैं बेचते हैं ये काम करती है प्राइवेट आप मेरे पास कस्टमर बनकर आए मिस निकिता came to me and she said that ma'am we want financing of a construction line we need finances from you we need the construction financing kind of services from you am I supposed to enter into such a contract? No ma'am. M Gowda and Tiwari Radhesham were the first one to say no ma'am. Because why? Because this is not my purpose. This is not the objective. My objective is different. Now, tomorrow, if I have signed such a contract in greed of money, I was really tempted to get 1 crore rupees and I signed this contract. And later on, I refused that my M. Gowda and Tiwari Radhesham and other 5-6 students have told me that, no, ma'am, you cannot do that. So I have consulted these little CAs and they tell me that, ma'am, it is not mentioned in your object clause and I will not do it. So now whose loss will be it? It's my loss or it's the outsider's loss? किसको नुकसान सहना पड़ेगा आउटसाइडर को तो लॉ कहते हैं कि आउटसाइडर की गलती है आप अगर हरलीन मैम के साथ ए प्राइवेट लिमिटेड के साथ डील करने आए हो वेरी गुड so Surya Kumari that's correct so Swati Giri you are also correct so if you say that tomorrow whose mistake will be that it will be outsider's mistake so tomorrow outsider will be questioned that when you went to make a transaction with a private limited why didn't you read its memorandum why didn't you read the object their object clause clearly says that they're into manufacturing of cloth how can you enter into financing business with them so it is outsiders laws excellent those who have mentioned outsiders laws Anushka Kumari great Swati Richa all of you so it is outsiders law. This is what Memorandum of Association is all about. Doctrine of ultra vires. This is what it says that tomorrow, if any outsider enters into a contract with the company, which is not given in the object clause of the company, then it is the outsider who is at fault. He will have to bear the loss. No, Mr. Suchang, it's not my loss. It will be outsider's loss. How it becomes outsider's loss? This is so this generic information you can simply read from the study material, children. That memorandum shall contain the name clause, registered office clause. ये बहुत simple है, ये सिर्फ आपने पढ़ना ही है. अगर आपका name है तो government company's name must end with the word limited. One person's company's name must end with one person company like A1 OPC, B OPC. तो OPC लग जाएगा and it has limited liability. Remember, and government company's name must have the word limited after its name. All these kind of clauses you must read. It's very, very simple. And in case of OPC, you have another clause that is nominee clause. If the death of the subscriber, the nominee will become the member of the company. Now let's come to doctrine of ultra vires. Ultra vires means beyond their powers. So company cannot go anything can in excess of the legal powers cannot be done. So these are the powers. This is the limitation of a company that it cannot go outside the object clause of the company. Now, what happens is object of the company is mentioned in the memorandum. Any act done by the company which is beyond the powers, not only of the directors, but also of the company is wholly void and it is not binding on the company. So, जो transaction मैंने आपके साथ करी थी मिस निकिता के साथ financing की, that transaction was void. Void means null and void. It has no meaning in the eyes of law and it is not binding on the company. Tomorrow you come and force me do this. I will say, look, I forgot in my object clause, it is not mentioned. So I cannot do so. So companies refrained from employing its funds for any purpose other than. So my funds were to be used for manufacturing of cloth. I will not do for any other purpose. It can be restrained from carrying on any trade which is different from the one it is authorized. So I'm just authorized to do business of manufacture of cloth. I will not use any other things. It is a public document. It is open for public inspection. Therefore, very important line. Anyone dealing with the company should know the powers of the company. In spite of this, you enter into a transaction which is ultra vires. You cannot enforce it against the company. It is your fault. See, such a magical statement this doctrine has given. So company will not be at fault. It will be the outsider's fault. Ultra vires means outside the power of the company. So please write down in your simpler language. If anyone tries to do any act outside the power of the object clause, any act outside the power of the object clause of the memorandum of the company, any act outside the object, any act outside the object of the, outside the object means which is not mentioned in the object of the memorandum, is known as ultra vires. A company cannot go beyond its powers. A company cannot go beyond its powers. Therefore, anyone who enters into ultra vires transaction with the company, anyone who enters into an ultra vires transaction with the company, it is wholly void and not binding on the company. It is void and not binding on the company. Means it cannot be ratified also. If later on the shareholders want to pass a special resolution and want to give the approval of this act, then also it cannot be done. Why? Because once it is outside the purview of my object clause, it cannot be approved also by the shareholders later on. So if you have supplied the goods or performed services or lent money, you cannot obtain the payment or recovery the money lent. But if the money advanced has not been expended, the lender may stop the company from parting it, because the company does not become the owner of the money, which is ultra vires. So I cannot use that money also because it is ultra vires, so I cannot use the money. As lender only remains the owner, he can take back the property. If ultra vire loan has been utilized in meeting the lawful debt, then he can step into the shoes and entitled to recovery. So anything which is outside the purview of the company, which is not in the object clause, will be considered as ultra vires, and it is a complete void contract. It cannot be ratified means, children, it cannot be approved. Ratified ka matlab likh lo. It cannot be ratified means it cannot be approved by the shareholders later on also. So it cannot be approved. Later on you say that, okay, fine, I'm ready to give approval for this. It cannot be approved. If the act is ultra vires the powers of the directors, the shareholders can ratify it. If it ultra vires the articles, company can alter the articles. But if the act is within the power of company, shareholder can validate. So anything which is within the power of the company, some act or ultra vires can be regularized. अगर अल्ट्रा वायर्स एक्ट कंपनी के आउटसाइड द ऑब्जेक्ट है, फिर वो रेटिफाई नहीं हो सकता, बट विद इन द पावर ऑफ आर्टिकल्स है, देन इट स्टिल कैन बी रेटिफाइड, मींस इट कैन स्टिल बी एक्सेप्टेड. बट एनीथिंग व्हिच इज डन completely against the object clause, that cannot be accepted. And this is what was held in a very, very important and interesting case law, that is Ashbury Railway Carriage and Iron Company Limited versus Rich. So what happened in this company was, the object clause of this company was to make and sell railway carriages and wagons. Railway carriage के जो डब्बे होते हैं, ट्रेन के डब्बे होते हैं, इनका बिजनेस था कि ये वो रेलवे कैरेजेस बनाते थे एंड बेचते थे. एंड ऑल्सो बिजनेस ऑफ मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर्स एंड जनरल कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स, जो भी इंजीनियर्स लाइन पे सर्विसेज देते हैं एंड कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स होते हैं, वो वाला काम करते थे. वर्क माइंस की सेल परचेज करते थे, एंड दे वर ऑल्सो दी मर्केंटाइल merchants and agents of coal, timber, metal. They were also doing sale and purchase of coal, metal and timber. So Ashbury Railway Carriage Company के ये object clause थे, ये काम करती थी वो. And directors of the company, Mr. Rich, एक बार उनके पास गया for financing the construction of a railway line. उसने कहा बेल्जियम में मैं एक रेलवे लाइन बना रहा हूँ, उसकी कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए मुझे फाइनेंस चाहिए, पैसा चाहिए. And Mr. Rich entered into a contract with this company for this construction, financing of the construction site. Company ratified this act, the directors, by passing a special resolution. Company said, okay, fine, we will pass an approval among us with the directors by passing a special resolution, and we will accept this act also. However, it later on repudiated, means cancelled the contract, because it was ultra vires. Later on, shareholders got very angry. How can you do something outside the purview? Don't you know that it is not in our purview? So it is ultra vires. That was ultra vires. Do you agree it was ultra vires? Yes, ma'am, it was ultra vires, because आपका business तो सिर्फ railway wagons बनाने का है, mechanical engineers का है, work mines का है, आपका business financing का है ही नहीं. So this act was ultra vires. Therefore, Rich bought an action. He said, you told me and now you're not doing it. I will claim damages for this breach of contract. Then his contention was, when he went to the court, he said the word general contractors means that they have the power to do this financing work. And it has been ratified also by majority of shareholders. But court held that this contract was null and void. General contractors means mechanical engineers. You have to read the company's main business. Please don't come to us without reading the main business. आप उनका business तो पढ़ो, वो तो general contractors, mechanical engineers के point of view से term use हो रहा है. That means they have that engineer kind of work that they can do. They are nowhere into financing. So general contractor was not so interpreted and making of the contract of any such kind of description. Then it says fire and marine insurance wale bhi fir to financing denge. So they gave the example that this is a kind of a contract. For example, fire and marine insurance. They do the insurance they provide the insurance activities. Can they also provide financing? No, they cannot do. So any ultra vires contract can never be binding on the company. It cannot become intra vires just by lapse of time, ratification or delay. You cannot say that because it took so much delay, now we will accept it. No, it cannot be accepted. So Ashbury Railway Carriage and Company Limited versus Rich ke case mein, you simply have to remember, since the act was outside the preview of the memorandum of the company, therefore it was ultra vires. Such a contract is null and void. It cannot be accepted by the shareholders later on also. Therefore, outsiders should be aware before making any contract with the company. So this is the whole position. It says if it is ultra vires the articles, then you can still accept it. But anything which is ultra vires beyond the memorandum is null and void, cannot be accepted at all. The disadvantage of doctrine outweighs the main advantage, provided the protection to the shareholders and creditors. However, it may be useful to the members. It says it prevents the company from changing its activities. You cannot change your activities just because you're signing a contract or by passing a special resolution. What is written in your object clause has to be done in the same. So it is just trying to protect the shareholders and creditors that we will not go outside the preview of object clause. Whatever is written in the object clause, we will only follow that. If company has made any kind of signatures outside the preview, it is ultra vires, it will not be holding valid. And what is articles of association? It says now the general functions have been summed up in Ashbury Railway Carriage, but you need to understand that these are the documents which give protection to the company. Protection has been given to the company. Doctrine of constructive notice also talks about the same thing. This is just general information. The articles of association ki general information, you can read it in your own words, you can learn and write it. Doctrine of constructive notice says this notice means that the documents are readily available. The people who are dealing with the company should read it and they should know for what purpose they are available. You go, memorandum and articles, when registered, they become public document. Anyone can pay the nominal fees and can open them for inspection. So if you want to make any investment in any company, please read their MOA and AOA and then only decide, make your decision in order to invest in that company. Because the company will not be able to do any kind of contract outside its preview. So it is better. Doctrine of constructive notice means all the outsiders, likh lo apni language mein. Doctrine of constructive notice means all the outsiders should read the MOA and A of the company before entering into any kind of contract. It is the duty of the person to read them and make sure that whatever contract they're entering is within the powers of the company. This is known as constructive notice. Means आपको एक notice होना चाहिए, पता होना चाहिए कि आप company के साथ कौन सी dealing करने जा रहे हो, उस dealing की आपको 100% surety होनी चाहिए. All right. Now, doctrine of indoor management. So till now, doctrine we have been talking about doctrine of ultra vires, gave protection to company. Doctrine of constructive notice में भी क्या कहा गया कि आप मेरे पास आए हो तो आप मेरा MOA and AO पढ़ कर आओ. So protection was given to whom? Protection was given to company. So company कल को अगर contract sign भी करती है तो company गलती नहीं है, आपकी गलती है, आप constructive notice पढ़ कर आओ. Now there is another doctrine, that is doctrine of indoor management. Now listen carefully. It says, you told me that these are public documents and I'm supposed to read it as an outsider. Now, any changes that, my dear, you are going to make in the company, indoor management means inside the door. So if you are amending your articles, you are passing any resolution in the meeting and changing the borrowing powers or any kind of things which are happening within the company, which is not visible to the outsiders. In that case, this doctrine of indoor management was come up. It says now if anything wrong happened, protection was given to the outsiders. Now the company will be held liable. Now the outsiders have to be protected. So tomorrow you tell me that your company does not have the borrowing powers and you have taken the loan from me. So I'm sorry, indoor management inside the company, what is happening, outsiders are not supposed to know. So if I am an outsider, this is the company, I have read the constructive notice, memorandum article, I make a mistake, I am liable. Something which is happening, ये दरवाजा बंद है, कंपनी अंदर है, दरवाजा बंद है. So कंपनी के अंदर जो भी हो रहा है, now if some changes happen, outsider will not be held liable, company will be held liable. So doctrine of ultra vires give protection to company means outsider is liable. Means a protection to company means company is not liable. So company is not liable here. Constructive notice also says the same, company is not liable. But doctrine of indoor management has given the protection to the outsiders, which means company will be held liable. So ये लिख लो पहले, फिर समझाती हूँ केस लॉ. Company will be held liable. So in case of indoor management, it was clearly held that now if you make any kind of mistakes, indoor management, anything happening inside the company will be held liable and not the outsiders. Any doubts still here, children? Yes, have you written it? Yes, it means the same. All right. Difference between limited and Anushta Kumari is asking what is the difference between limited and incorporation. So limited, we were talking about the liability where it is limited or unlimited. Incorporation means when the company is incorporated, when the company is registered. So you follow that entire procedure on filing of documents and you get a certificate of incorporation. That now means you have given the stamp, your company is incorporated. All right. Now let us quickly move ahead. I have read your comments. Everybody has written it is clear. Now let us understand what is the doctrine of indoor management all about. So it says doctrine of indoor management is the exception to the doctrine of constructive notice. I hope you have all written what I just made you write down. It will no more make a sense that outsiders are never deemed to have the notice about the internal affairs. So I just told you, if you're doing any internal changes, children, article of association means the rules and regulations which the companies make. MOA will tell you name clause, office clause, registered place, where you're doing the business, who is the nominee. Articles of association will tell you what are the rules and regulations of here. So in the Royal British Bank versus Turquoise rule, a major rule was laid down which talks about the doctrine of indoor management. In this rule, it was clearly held if any changes are happening inside the company, the outsiders will be given a protection. They will not be held liable. The company will be held liable in this respective case. So let us listen to another interesting last story of the day, that is Turquoise rule. In this, children, Mr. Turquoise was the liquidator of a company. He was not the owner of the company, he was a liquidator. So who is a liquidator? A person who is appointed in order to help the binding up of the company, or the company has been declared insolvent, then you appoint a liquidator who will dispose of the assets of the company and pay off the liability. So this Cameron's, Coalbrook Steam Coal and Swana Company Railway Company, this was declared insolvent, and Mr. Turquoise was appointed as the liquidator of this company. So he was taking care of all the assets and liabilities of this railway company. It was incorporated under Joint Stock Companies Act 1844. So it is a very old company which was formed under Joint Stock Companies Act. Company had given a bond for 2,000 pounds to the Royal British Bank. So it has taken a secured kind of loan, secured the company's drawings on the current account. So Royal British Bank has assigned a bond of 2,000 pounds with this particular company. And it was under company's seal, signed by 2 directors and the secretary. So the transaction was between this company, Cameron's, and Royal British Bank. They have given 2,000 pounds bond secured bond was signed between both of them. And it was signed by 2 directors and the secretary of the company. The company was sued. It was held that directors only had the power to borrow up to an amount authorized by the company resolution, and a resolution specifying this but not specifying has never been passed. Now, what happened in this case though? Turquand was finding up this company. This company was declared insolvent. So he was just checking their accounts. He was disposing of the assets and paying off the liabilities. Royal British Bank said, look, we have also given a secured loan. £2,000 bond was signed between us. Please pay back our money. He said, which £2,000? You are showing me the bond which was signed by directors and secretary. But my dear, their internal affairs, they have never passed a resolution. Although the resolution was passed that the directors have the power to borrow money, but they have never specified how much directors could borrow money. So Royal British Bank got very angry. He said, you told me to have a doctrine of constructive notice. I read that notice and made a contract with you. That's it. That is your internal affair. How much they can borrow, why they could not borrow, why they have extended the power. That is your internal affairs. How am I supposed to know about that? How will I come to know what is happening within the doors of the company? So in this case, the bond was held valid and Royal British Bank won the case by saying this, that although the bank was aware that the directors could borrow, up till the amount allowed, he was not aware. So the articles were registered, so they had the constructive notice, but bank is not deemed to have the ordinary resolutions notice or not. Bank will not go and find whether you have done your meetings on time, whether you're passing your resolutions on time. That is not bank's duty, no? So bond was entirely, there was no requirement to look into the company's internal working. This is the indoor management, which means company's indoor affairs are the company's problem. That is your problem if your company is not functioning properly. I am an outsider. I have lent money to you. You have to give my money back. So remember, doctrine of ultra vires is only for the Memorandum of Association. Any acts done outside. Constructive notice means the public document has to be read by the outsiders. They will be held liable if they make any fault. And doctrine of indoor management is an exception to the doctrine of constructive notice. Any internal affairs the company is making the changes. In that very case, company's problem, company will be held liable and not the outsiders. All right. Any doubt still here, children? Now, what happened was exceptions to the doctrine of indoor management. Everybody said that fine, we have understood the rule of indoor management. Company is doing anything, outsider will be given the protection, company will be held liable. As long as the act is valid, if done in a particular way, outsider is entitled to assume that it is done in the manner required. So it is not outsider's fault. He will assume that if authorization was given in that Turquand rule, authorization was given. It was said that the directors had the borrowing power. So बस उसने सिर्फ इतना पढ़ने कि डायरेक्टर्स के पास पावर है. कितनी पावर है, कितना अमाउंट बोरो करना है, वो आपका इंटरनल मैटर है. हमने नहीं उसमें. Indoor management means outsiders are not supposed to know what is happening in the internal functioning. So indoor management and Turquand rule had its own limitation. Following cases, this rule was made inapplicable means it further had certain exceptions to the doctrine of indoor management. This means there are certain cases where the company will not be held liable, but the person, individual who is doing that fault will be held liable. So if any director is doing forgery, he was giving her fake signatures, then that director will be held liable. Any accountant who is selling the property of the company without authorization of the company, that accountant will be held liable. Let us quickly give it a fair reading. Exceptions to doctrine of indoor management, please write down. It means these are the 3 cases where company will not be held liable, but the person who was at fault will be held. Person or the director who was at fault will be held liable. So any constructive knowledge of irregularity. So if there is any director who is aware that the company is not supposed to borrow or not supposed to sell the assets, still if that director make a mistake, then that particular director will be held liable. A director cannot defend an allotment of shares allotted to him. His appointment fell through because none of the directors appointed him. So if we know that there was a certain allotment of shares issued to be raised at a particular amount, still if he has done the borrowing purchase beyond that, he has allotted the shares beyond that number, then that particular director will be considered liable. Suspicion of irregularity. Now this is very, very interesting. It says Anand Bihari Lal versus Dinshaw and Company. बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग केस तो है. इसमें क्या हुआ था, इसमें एक सस्पिशन आ गया, एक डाउट. सस्पिशन मीन्स एक डाउट. इसमें बोला कि एक अकाउंटेंट जो था उसने कंपनी के ट्रांसफर पेपर साइन करे और कहा कि मैं कंपनी की प्रॉपर्टी बेच रहा हूं. तो यहाँ पे क्या डाउट आ रहा है, क्या आपको लगता है कि कंपनीज अकाउंटेंट कैन सेल द कंपनीज प्रॉपर्टी? There was a suspicion, there was a doubt. An officer said that there is a doubt, something which is outside the scope of your authority. So it is your mistake if you're entering such a kind of contract with that accountant. Plaintiff could not have to suppose that power of attorney accountant had the authority to sign. So it is outsider's duty to inquire whether proper things are happening or not. So here company will not be held liable, that outsider will be held liable. So any unusual transactions which is not in the ordinary course of business is happening, you have to see that suspicion of irregularity. You cannot say it is indoor management, it is company's matter, accountant should be thrown out of the job. Whatever is the problem, actions will be taken against the accountant, but company will not be held liable here. Here the outsider who is dealing such kind of things will be held liable. And Ribbon versus Great Pinball Consolidated case mein it was held that a share certificate was issued under the seal of defendant's company, and the company's secretary who has signed has forged the signature of two directors. So company secretary, although she did his own signature also, and she has fixed a false signature of two directors. Therefore, the signature was general or forged is an internal management affair. Company cannot say that no, it is a genuine document. This rule will not extend to complete forgery at all. So it is very, very important. Forgery case is very, very important, children. Any kind of irregularity or forgery, the transaction will be completely treated as null and void. It says indoor management applies to irregularity which might affect otherwise a transaction, but never applies to forgery. So any kind of forgery done, forgery ka matlab hota hai any fake signatures. If any company secretary or director is given, then that particular director will definitely be held liable. You cannot say that the protection is given to the company or outsiders. That particular person doing such kind of fraudulent actions will be taken against him or her. All right, so sharp 4 o'clock and we have come to an end. All the doctrines are very nicely and clearly covered. I hope you don't have any doubt. You have to give it a fair reading. I'm here for 2-3 more minutes. Please, if you have any doubts, you can ask now. Thank you so much, Richa Kumari, Nikita, Bhumika, Harsh. I'm glad that everything is clear. Mr. Chaurasia, what you want me to explain once again, you can tell the topic. I hope Tasneem now indoor management is clear. Anushta Kumari, thank you so much. Bhumika Chauhan. Thank you, Mehak Roy. Page number 5.12, Nikita. So are you talking about the Companies Act only? So let me just take it out. So yes, children, you have to go through all the MCQs given at the end of the chapters. That's very, very important. Okay, Nikita has raised a query. Vaishnavi Chaudhary, the online registration means that. Okay, let me just take out this page which this girl has asked, Nikita. Vaishnavi is asking about the SPICE form. So I told you that online registration can also be done. So if you want to incorporate a company and you want to avoid the hassles of going to the registrar of companies and filing the document, then you can simply go to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs website, and there is a form that is SPICE and SPICE Plus form, which you can fill and you can get your incorporation done according to that form. All right. So yes, where are you, Nikita? Page number 5.12, last paragraph. So this is page number 5.12. The last paragraph simply says, children, status of private company which is subsidiary to public company. So if I am a public company, if I have a public company, that is ABC Limited is a public company, and it has a subsidiary that is AB Private Limited. Now it says that since AB Private Limited is my subsidiary, therefore this AB Private Limited will also deemed to be a public company. So if private company, which is a subsidiary, this is not the case with the private company having a public company as a subsidiary, this is public company. If a public at large or public company, large scale company is having any private company holding as a subsidiary, then this AB Private Limited shall deem to be a public company. Okay, although it will continue in its article, means although it will be a private company only in its article of association, it will continue as a private company, that is minimum 2, maximum 200 members. But for the purpose of Companies Act 2013, this company will deem to be a public company. All right. All right. I hope, Nikita, this point is clear now. Thank you, Mehak Roy. Thank you, Aisha Sood. All the best to you as well. Thank you, Radhesham Tiwari. Vaishnavi Chaudhary, I hope your query is clear. Richa Kumari, thank you so much. Priyanka Main, I told you about the timetable study. Make a timetable. Make sure that you are giving equal importance to all the respective acts in the law. It is not that you're doing one act nicely, leaving another. You should not leave a single line from the study material and neither from the presentation as well as the notes shared with you. Thank you, Miss Radhesham. Thank you, Shreyas. Miss Punjabi Asif, doctrine means the principle, the rule. Thank you, Gopal Mishra. Thank you, Swati Giri. Miss Shreyas, you can ask specifically anything you want to ask regarding the tips that have been shared with you during the course of time or something which will help you to revise. Thank you, Sarvesh. Thank you, Ritu Tiwari. Articles, all the points learned. Miss Mehak Roy, you can learn the definition of articles and all the schedules that they have given. Just give it a fair reading. But indoor management and exceptions to indoor management is very, very important. All right. Doctrine of ultra vires ratification part, Ms. Shriya Tiwari. So ratification part means if any act which I am doing outside the object clause, that means you cannot approve it. Ratification का मतलब होता है approval. तो उन्होंने बोला कि अगर shareholder resolution pass कर उसे accept कर सकते हैं, ratify कर सकते हैं, तो he says no. Anything which is outside the company, it is ultra vires, it cannot be approved even by the shareholders later on. Okay. All right. Thank you, Nikita. Thank you so much, children. Thank you, Surya Kumari. Even I'm going to miss all of you and wishing you all great, great happiness in life and good wishes. And thank you, Punjabi Asif. Thank you so much, Joy Das J. Thank you, students. And keep revising, keep learning. And in case you have any queries, if anything in between you want to ask, you can write to us. We'll try to finish off your queries as well. Thank you. M. Goda, you have come up with another question. If you can just write the question quickly because it is very difficult to find the page number now. Thank you, Shriya Tiwari. Yes, sale of goods also, just revise everything that we have done in the past, and case laws are important as far as Companies Act are concerned. In sale of goods, you can leave the case laws. There were not very many case laws to learn over there. All right, Mr. M. Goda, you can ask the question specifically. Thank you. Yes, Ms. Nikita, surely will try to do that. All right. Thank you, students. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.